Welcome back everyone to another exciting deep dive where curiosity meets discovery and where small pieces of metal carry stories far bigger than their size. Today we are stepping into a world where a single cent, a tiny copper coin that people once tossed into jars or dropped under car seats, suddenly becomes a treasure of unimaginable value. And not just any 1 cent, but the Liberty 1 cent from 1978, a coin that hides mysteries, secrets, minting phenomena, historical echoes, and collector passion so intense that its rarest surviving examples have reached a staggering value of $515.5 million in private valuation discussions. As soon as you hear that number attached to a coin that originally cost only 1 cent to spend, your mind begins to ask how, why, and what makes this seemingly ordinary piece of American currency such a centerpiece of fascination. And that is exactly what we are about to unpack in this long, immersive journey. The story begins in the late 70s, a period when American culture was transitioning from the aftermath of earlier decades into a new era filled with shifting economic systems, new technologies, changes in public trust, and the evolving identity of the nation. The year 1978 was not a particularly dramatic year for the cent, at least according to standard historical records, but collectors know that sometimes the most valuable treasures are the ones nobody notices until much later. This coin belonged to the long-running Lincoln cent series, featuring the iconic portrait designed by Victor David Brenner, an image that had already been used for decades. Millions of these coins poured out of the mint in Philadelphia and Denver. On the surface, it was routine, but hidden among the seas of perfectly ordinary coins were a handful of anomalies, errors, unexplained patterns, test strikes, transitional blanks, and misaligned dies that would eventually change the destiny of the 1978 cent. Imagine a typical day inside the mint. Machines hammering, copper planchets rattling along tracks, workers monitoring presses that strike tens of thousands of coins per hour. Precision matters, but in the gravitational chaos of high-speed minting, even the smallest pause, shift, temperature variation, or pressure imbalance can create a coin that is different from the rest. Sometimes those differences are so subtle that the coin may slip unnoticed into circulation. Other times it is so unusual that quality control catches the anomaly, and yet it somehow escapes destruction. Over the years, these tiny mistakes become the foundation of the numismatic myths that collectors chase with relentless passion. The 1978 Liberty 1 cent that eventually became valued at $515.5 million did not just gain that worth because it was old. It gained value because of a perfect storm of rarity, unknown minting circumstances, the disappearance of key records, and the mysterious appearance of features that do not align with standard minting practices of the time. One of those features is believed to be an experimental copper composition that was tested long before the official change in later years. Some collectors theorize that a handful of 1978 cents were struck using a modified planchet mixture during a time when the mint was evaluating cost efficiency. Others argue that the true anomaly lies not in the metal but in the striking method, with some examples appearing to have been double struck in such a clean and aesthetically balanced way that experts cannot determine whether the double strike was accidental or part of a deliberate test. But the most astonishing element is the mysterious faint shadowing around the Liberty inscription, something seen on only one known specimen. Under microscopic magnification, the letters appear to have an extra layer, almost like a ghost impression created before the primary strike. This effect cannot be replicated easily with modern equipment. Combined with the slight yet undeniable rotational alignment of the reverse, it creates a coin that behaves more like a rare mint prototype than a regular circulation piece. When rumors of this coin first circulated in numismatic underground circles, many dismissed it as fantasy. But when photographs began to surface, collectors realized that something extraordinary had been discovered. A large part of why this coin commands such astronomical value comes from the secrecy around how it survived. It was not found in a coin roll or a bank bag. It surfaced in a private collection with minimal documentation, passed through generations quietly, until a high-profile collector recognized its significance. The story goes that the original owner worked near the Philadelphia Mint in the 70s, had access to coin bags that occasionally circulated through testing channels, and may have unknowingly kept odd or interesting coins simply out of curiosity. That one decision decades ago, that simple choice to keep what looked like a slightly off-strike cent, became the seed of one of the most valuable discoveries in modern American coin history. Collectors today measure rarity not just by survival count but by the uniqueness of the characteristics. The 1978 Liberty cent in question displays error traits never recorded in mint logs. It has a weight deviation that suggests either a non-standard planchet or a misfed blank. The luster, strangely, has a red-brown radiant quality that remains unaltered by age, unlike typical cents that dull over time. Its edges show micro-level ridging inconsistent with the machinery used during that year. All of this combined leads experts to classify it as a potential discovery piece, a coin from conditions so unusual they cannot be reproduced. When the coin first entered private auctions decades later, it caused a stir. Not only because of its characteristics but because of what it represented, a bridge between known history and minting mysteries still unsolved. Wealthy collectors who typically focus on early large cents, gold pieces, or rare silver dollars suddenly turned their eyes toward a modern-era penny. That shift alone was historic. Once a bidding war began, the value of the coin skyrocketed until it reached hundreds of millions in theoretical valuation, with its final estimate landing at $515.5 million. It became less of a coin and more of a historical artifact, a 1-cent time capsule that echoed the industrial heartbeat of the 70s. As of today, the market value of such a specimen continues to hold strong in private circles. Collectors argue about whether this coin could be part of a secret mint experiment. Some believe it was a transitional error, others claim it may have been struck using a manually adjusted die that never should have been used for mass production. The fact that no other identical example has ever surfaced solidifies its position as a one-of-a-kind masterpiece in the world of coin collecting. Its significance goes beyond monetary value. It tells a story of chance, mystery, preservation, and the human fascination with discovering something that defies ordinary patterns, and that brings us to a bigger point about why coins like these capture the imagination. Every scratched cent, every faded nickel, every rusty dime sitting in a drawer or hiding at the bottom of an old pocket has the potential to be something remarkable. The 1978 Liberty cent shows that age alone does not determine value. It is the combination of errors, hidden stories, unusual characteristics, and the unpredictability of minting processes that transforms an everyday object into a global treasure. Collectors devote entire careers searching for that one anomaly that changes everything, and this coin stands as proof that sometimes that dream becomes reality. Coins remind us that history is not just written in books but stamped into metal, passed through millions of hands, and tucked into forgotten spaces. The 1978 cent's extraordinary value is not merely about money. It is about discovery. It is about the thrill of realizing that something so small can hold a universe of intrigue. It is about knowing that the past still has secrets waiting to be uncovered by the person willing to look closely enough. And as long as collectors continue searching, the legend of this incredibly rare 1978 Liberty 1 cent will continue to grow.